Conservation Commission for June 21st open. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the 7th of June.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Moving second, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And we have 2 new public hearings, and I will read into the agenda the first one for 260 Crescent Street. Under the Wetland Protection Act, Chapter 131, Section 40 of Mass General Law is amended, and the West Bridgewater Wetland Protection Bylaws, Rules and Regulations. The West Bridgewater Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing the 21st of June 2016 in the McDonald Brown Conference Room, 65 North Main Street, for a abbreviated notice of resource area delineation filed by Cavaro Consulting on behalf of Vincent DeChristopher to verify that a wetland bordering vegetation flagged at 260 Crescent Street is subject to the Wetland Protection Act. And we're open, and the applicant has asked for continuance until the July 19th meeting. Anybody here for that, speaking for that? If not, I will entertain a motion to continue.
Motion to continue.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. That being said, we will move on to map 10, lot 13, Brooks Place. And I will read that one in. Under the Wetland Protection Act, Chapter 131, Section 40 of Mass General Law, as amended in the West Bridgewater Wetland Protection Bylaw, Rules and Regulations, the West Bridgewater Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing the 21st of June in the McDonald Brown Conference Room, 65 North Main Street, for a notice of intent filed by Pilling Engineering Group on behalf of Al Indoritis for purpose of bulldozing invasive vegetation from an existing fields to perform soil and perk tests within the 100-foot buffer zone of a BVW at map 10, lot 13, Brooks Place. We're open, and
John's notes are
green cards.
John's notes are there in your file.
Yep, I'll take those. What do we got?
Okay, good evening, Todd Pilling from Pilling Engineering. This is a piece of property off of Brooks Place that our intention is to be doing a small subdivision in here. But one of the first steps we need to do is some perk tests. Some preliminary testing that was done years ago indicate that the soil is decent, but it's down several feet. So we gotta do some perk tests, but the perk tests will be in the 100-foot buffer zone. And the entire field, this used to be a farm field, but they stopped mowing it, and it's now nothing but multi-floor rows, and they are huge. And you can't walk around them, you can't walk through them. They're out of control. And so what we are seeking to do at this point in time is we've got the wetlands flagged, and we are seeking to get the wetland line confirmed. We did this under a notice of intent, not under an ANRAD, because we're also looking for permission to remove that invasive species and do our perk tests, because the invasive species and the perk tests are all within the 100-foot buffer zone. Well, I guess we have some perk tests that are outside the 100, but the majority of them will be within the 100.
So how can you put a subdivision within the 50-foot?
Well, wouldn't be within the 50, we'd be outside the 50.
But you're doing the perks in the 50?
No, septic systems can't be within the perks are gonna be outside the 50-foot buffer, but we wanna clear the vegetation to remove it, cause if we clear to the 50, it's just gonna come right back in, so we're trying to remove all the multi-floor rows that is out there.
So no perks or nothing are gonna be,
If we did, they wouldn't be any good to us, because Title V doesn't allow for new construction to be within 50 feet, so it would be a waste of effort. So, no, our intention is not to dig any perk holes within 50 feet, or put any drainage or houses or
just
grading.
within the 100?
Correct. And when we design the subdivision, we're gonna stay out of the 50 with everything that we do, but we needed some perk information first before we went too far.
So you can't clear invasive species beyond the 100?
Outside the 100, we could, we can take it all down.
Can't go, say, between the 100 and the 50?
Well, I'm looking for permission from this commission to do it.
Oh.
So, I mean, technically, I'm guessing if I went in and did it, you know, it's, you know.
Yeah, well,
But I honestly, we're in some places, we're looking to go right to the wetland line and remove that invasive species, because again, at some point, we're gonna need to do it anyway, as part of any notice of intent that we do. This, I don't know if any of you went out to the site, but it was thick. I've never seen multi-floor that thick.
How big is the subdivision gonna be, that whole?
It'll only be in the field area, it's
that
not gonna
whole-
be going into the woods, cause we can't go into the wetlands of the 50-foot buffer.
Within the whole area there, up to the 100?
The crosshatch area, yeah, we'll probably be going up to the 50-foot buffer too, so, in some locations. Again, we haven't gone too far with the layout until we kinda doing the steps in the right order.
So they have behind my house.
Is there anything else in there besides the roses? I mean, I didn't go walking way back, but it didn't look like there was much.
I mean, there is some grass here and there, but as far as invasives, no, I didn't see anything else. But you couldn't get through the roses to get to the other side. You'd walk around, you'd see where you wanna go, but you'd go all the way around and realize you weren't where you wanted to be. So you could walk the edge of the wetland line alright, cause once you get in that close, the roses aren't there, so.
So
Are they
you don't
really roses?
Well, it's the
That's-
multi-floor.
That's what they call
It's
them.
the ones that are they're the size of this room. They're like 10 feet, 12 feet in diameter, and the vines were like, that thick around, and oh.
Yeah,
They're the briars.
I got them behind my house.
They're wicked.
Yeah, rose is a strong name for them. Yes.
Yeah.
I had one removed from my property, it was huge, it was
They're
unreal.
alive.
And the more you dig it, the more it spreads, and it just doesn't.
Well,
you
that's
really
why we
have
wanted to bulldoze it, so we
it
can scrape
straight.
up the roots, and
Get the-
then the loom's out of the way when we do the perk test, so then we can put the loom back down without,
You gotta get those roots.
so that's the plan.
So you're not positive exactly what is in that whole area then?
What do you mean for
For invasive
vegetation?
species and all that stuff?
Well, I'm saying I don't remember seeing anything but multiflora rose. We didn't have a
But you
botanist.
can't get that far in, can you? Can you get all the way in to see the whole area?
Yeah, well, you can walk, say, around and stuff like that,
Okay.
but it's 90% of it is multiflora rose. That's the only invasive species that I saw.
And if it had been mowed and maintained all the way along,
We
would
wouldn't
just,
be here. Yeah.
Yeah, the field. Yes.
Well, we'd still be here to confirm the wetland line. So.
I apologize for being a little late. I'm
That's
Steve
okay.
Courier from 125 Brooks Place, right as you're entering into there. Right.
Yeah, if you can just sign in, so we've got it.
Which
Yep.
which area are we talking about right now?
The cross-hatched area.
Right in here, coming up, that what you're
No,
talking about?
No,
the
crosshatch.
Just the,
Oh, just the whole thing?
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. All right, I guess some of them, some of those areas can be wet. Not all, but some of them. I think probably more towards the back corner over here. But it does get pretty wet also up in the front side. And they've cleared back some areas to where it was originally. Some areas they haven't. They could probably clear some more into that peninsula that's sticking out. But when you get back to that back corner, they may be pretty close to
yeah,
where it used to
where the
be.
50-foot line is, there's not much back there that, I mean, width-wise to work with for what they're eventually gonna do. But I remember back when we first saw the when the line was done, and you could actually walk there, that you could tell that it was all old field area that had been kept open.
But some of the wetland flags did come out into the field in some
Right, and
locations.
there were,
but
like, this huge big spur that came out, and then
Did that come up, has this come up before, or
the line did.
the line? Okay.
2006-ish?
Yeah.
Because it expired.
Right, and
Gotcha.
Yeah, and done again.
And well, now we're trying to re-up it. yes.
redo it.
Redo it, yeah, we paid the fee, and under the notice of intent, the INRAD fee to confirm the line.
But it hasn't been done. These are the old flags.
They are the old flags, but they've
Just
been rehung, and
No, I know.
John, I'm assuming went out and looked at them, but I haven't heard from him one way or the other, but I assumed he's been out there. It hadn't, I mean, I went out there and I hung a lot of them,
Right.
a lot of the flags were still there, and we were just hanging the new ones, but, it doesn't appear to have changed too much other than the rose has taken over the field.
It was 06. A lot of stuff can change.
Yeah, John's comments here, normally would not allow the disturbance of a 50-foot buffer, but if the applicant is looking to remove the invasive plants, I find it to be a positive for the BBW. Later, when they file to develop lots, special conditions in the order of conditions for each lot will require restoration or replanting of native wetland buffer plants within the 50-foot. To prevent
invasive plants for retaking in the buffer.
Makes sense.
And John said he didn't have a problem with the proposed invasive species removal and perk testing.
How many perks are you plan on doing?
We're probably gonna do somewhere in the range of 10 to 20 holes. We might perk, I don't know, 6, 8, 10 of them, depending on how it goes. I mean, if the perks don't go, we have to dig more. We've already done, there's a whole bunch of holes that we're already done from this area that did already perk, so we're not gonna be needing to go back into that area, I don't think, although I guess the Board of Health now is changing their policy on old perks. That area was all
When was
gravel.
that perk last time? When was it perked last time?
Well, it's not when it was who it was that witnessed it, I guess was the issue, so, but it was, it was 06, I guess, or 05, somewhere back in then, so.
Big difference.
I mean, soils don't change, but
No, but it could,
But that's why, like I said, we gotta go in and do more
Holes and
perks
something
anyway.
like
We
that.
only did enough holes for like one system, so.
I'm all set.
I mean, I think to get the,
Like going
the
on.
roses out of there is not a bad thing at this
No,
point,
no.
but, and I'm sure you may or may not know a time frame. I mean, I just don't wanna see it all bulldozed, all just left. And-
The intention is as soon as we get permission here, we drop the per cap with the Board of Health tomorrow, and as soon as we can do it. In fact, I think we kind of already dropped off the per cap, and I think we're scheduled for like the week after the 4th of July or something like that. And that's when we'd be,
and it's depending on how the perks go.
well, no, that's when we'd be going in to do the perk test.
But I
We'd
mean,
strip the loam and
it
then
all
do the perks.
depends on how much you can,
Do
figure
as
you
far
can-
as design and development and the
Yeah.
next, I mean,
you don't wanna get in there, dig all of it all out and say, alright, half
Good.
of them
July 12th.
aren't worth perks.
Like I say, I did preliminary holes out there, and there's good material, and it was just a matter of, over in this area, it was right at the surface, which is why we perked it at the time, because we were only looking for the one system. But the other ones, we noted the good material, and we just have to go back, and right now it's fairly dry, so it shouldn't be too bad to get to it. It's only like 3, 4, 5 feet down to get to it, so.
Now, did you have any idea about, back in '06, you think about even doing this whole thing, this whole area?
What do you-
Working, developing it,
Oh, yeah,
putting a subdivision?
Oh, yeah.
Why didn't you do it all back then?
because the client wanted to do one of those over 55 communities with something like 30 units in here, and the selectmen didn't want it, so it died. So we had sketches all drawn out and everything, and it was shared septic system, and it was all graded, done, it was all designed, and then the selectmen didn't want it for some reason. I wasn't at the meeting, so I don't know the why, but
And they weren't gonna put that, they wouldn't figure, oh, have a subdivision instead going?
I wasn't at the meetings, so.
You have a new owner now, right?
From back then?
Yeah, was that Hepshe back then?
Yes.
are you planning on putting anything down for cover?
You mean after we're done?
Yep.
I hadn't thought about it, but we could throw down a conservation mix just to see what, would hold it down until we get in there to do other stuff.
Right, I mean, that's what I'm thinking, that if you're doing the perks, and that could be a year, 2, 3.
Right, it
I
could
mean,
be-
before you actually do development.
Right,
and
it
have
could be
this
3
much-
months, but it could be 3
Right.
years, so yeah.
And we
so.
get a few good heavy
Like
rains
last
and
night.
without
No.
anything stabilizing
Like
it.
last night.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're putting down erosion control.
Yeah, but I hear what you're saying, so we could spread, the
Just
conservation
something to
mix, and
stabilize
just in
it
that
and-
first 50 feet, the conservation mix, maybe ryegrass anywhere else, just to,
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure the clients is gonna wanna go faster than I'm gonna wanna be able to go, but,
Time and money and,
yeah.
And you're just only gonna dig the perk areas, that's it. No more other than that.
Well, some of the holes would probably end up being used for drainage design and stuff, but again, everything's gonna be out of the 50-foot buffer. We're not going in the 50. The Title V requires 4 holes per lot, so it's a lot of holes to dig. That's part of the reason why we came here for the perks too, instead of just going in and doing it. I know perks are exempt from the Wetland Protection Act, but you guys have your bylaw, so.
How many acres is it
14?
for the buildable?
No, it's 14 total. It's probably only about 7 that's dry, and what's outside the 50-foot buffer might only be 5 or 6. I haven't done the math to see what it is, but it looks about half, roughly.
when you start putting the planning board's squares down, it kinda limits.
It chews it up quick, yep.
Yeah. Yes,
I'm just curious, you had mentioned about, you asked for additional holes, you said maybe some drainage. Well, I'm just not quite sure what.
well, what I'm assuming is eventually if you're putting a subdivision road in, you're gonna have to have drainage going into different spots. And they're gonna have to figure out where those ponds and retention areas and stormwater management's going. And that's what these extra holes are, to figure out where in this is the ideal spot for those.
You got
So
it.
it's not to start any drainage or
That's
anything
after.
of the,
Yeah, that's just for the design work, for the layout, for,
okay. And they're not gonna be too deep or anything like that, so we have any safety issues, right?
The holes are all gonna be to the tune of 10 to 14 feet deep, but they'll all be backfilled by the end of the day.
Yep.
So we'll have our trench permit, but we can't leave them open overnight, so
Yeah.
be deer trap.
anybody have any other questions? No. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the hearing.
I'll make the motion.
A second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. I'll entertain a motion to issue a order of conditions for invasive plant removal and stabilization, after the work is
In perk test.
Included in the order.
in the order.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
And we will need to grant one more motion for a waiver for work within the 50-foot.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And, just let John coordinate with him, and he'll be back next week. So
Alright,
that he
so I'll
knows
let him
when-
know the day we're gonna be there,
Yeah.
and then he can figure it out from there. So, yeah, the Board of Health will be there with us, like I said, we need a trench permit and stuff.
What type of erosion control you putting down?
Silt fence.
And hay bales?
We weren't putting the hay bales, I mean, it wasn't on our detail, we did just the silt fence.
I don't know whether they're really gonna need them as temporary, and if they're gonna seed it right away afterwards.
I mean, obviously, when we do more work, then we'll need something that's gonna be a little more long-term. But yeah, the plan is to get in and get out as fast, I mean, in the areas with in the 50-foot buffer, we're just going in and getting out the roots of these invasives and then spreading the grass seed. Where we're doing the perk tests, obviously, is a little bit more work and we'll have more erosion, but we're doing that further away, but, again, it's gonna be temporary. But we'll keep an eye on it. We're gonna be out there doing survey work, et cetera, and if we see the silt fence is not doing its job, we'll, cause obviously the last thing we wanna do is come in front for notice of intent and find out that the silt fence is over and everything's in the wetlands, cause then we have a different issue, so.
Did you see the plans are right, Matt?
Yeah, I looked at it.
Okay.
Alright, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
And you guys are
See you again, Steve.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right, and we have,
This is Tim from Canoe Club.
Mhm.
Tim from Canoe Club.
yes, we have a other matter.
That me?
That's you,
My oldest left?
which we might as well get you out of the way before we do our just administrative stuff after.
Other matters.
Other matter on our agenda. John had, or Kitty had actually mentioned that the owners of the canoe club would like to come in
They
to
came in
discuss.
this afternoon with a dilemma.
We'll let you explain your dilemma.
Well, I'm Tim Briggs here representing the Canoe Club Ballroom. I'm the operations manager over at the Canoe Club Ballroom under the owner Stacy Marola. We have a very unique situation where we have a part of the roof failing that overhangs the river. It's due to the ice dams 2 winters ago, and we've been fighting with the insurance company about getting it covered. They finally got it covered. They finally will cover, doing it. And now it's become an emergent situation. The contractor went up on our catwalk, because we have a catwalk in front of the windows, and looked at it, and there's only a couple nails holding, looks like holding the roof together. The fascia board is popped off. I have some pictures here I can show you. Is that okay?
That'd be great.
I
Yeah,
don't
if
ha-
you wanna-
I don't have a fancy easel and a
That's okay. We're,
of of them. So what happens is we're very limited because of the height of the water. If this was the middle of August and the water was really low, we have between 12 and 15 feet of shelf that is exposed of, you know, rock, where we could set up ladders and do our thing. Because of the water being so high and going right up to the building, there is no way we could set up scaffolding or ladders.
Did you talk to the forestry department about maybe taking out some of the things for the dam, lowering it down?
No, because we have a cool solution. So,
Okay.
so I have prices here of what the contractor says is gonna pay and what is it going to cost, and
Thanks.
Arthur C. Lamb Company to come in with a 60-ton crane and a 2-man basket, the OSHA-approved man basket, and
Dangle it over.
yep, from both sides. So the good news is we don't have to actually be in the river. We're not going to touch the river. You know, there's no serious hydraulics over the river. The contractor, according to the his paperwork, is going to extend the catwalk's about 2 feet wide, and then we're going to extend 2x4s out another 4 feet so that it comes out well beyond the overhang, so that any nails, any shingles, anything that falls will fall into a 4 mil plastic cradle, you know, like netting, so to speak, so that we don't litter the, you know, the river. It's very important to us because at some point the river does go lower, and we don't want, when that happens, for all this material to be visible. We don't want to litter the river. We take great pride, certainly, in the landscaping, the grounds, and everything that we do. So we've tried to figure out every problem we could have and come up with a solution. And the reason that Kitty recommended I come today is because this emergent situation, you could see the fascia popping off. It wasn't necessarily built the best way, and we're going to make it better than it was, and we already pulled the permit through the building department here, and so we're looking to start Monday. And I drew the short straw. The contractor couldn't be here. Kitty.
And I'm also assuming that this is maybe downtime for your function hall use, and that's why you're looking to get it done as soon as you
Oh
can.
my God, this is our wedding season.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
if
so
they Monday this week, meaning that's why
Monday
it's.
through Friday is a 5-day window, because that's all we're really going to have.
Is that how
I
long
mean, your
you think it's
weekends
gonna be?
were.
What's that?
How long they figure it's gonna take, a week?
We're hoping it's only gonna take 3 days.
Okay.
Like, they're going to work 12-hour days, overtime with the crane.
Weather permitting, so hopefully.
Well, so
I mean,
we're looking at the weather, and Monday looks fine. Tuesday, it's 20%, which normally means this time of year it would be the morning or at night. So, you know, if we have to shut down for an hour or two, we can, whatever we gotta do. But the cost is what it is. It's all, if you look at just the cost of the crane is $15,000. It's a prohibitive cost, but we can't let that stop us, because we have to do it. The alternative is to do nothing, and then when the roof falls into the river,
then it's a disaster.
the problem is the problem is the problem is the joists that come off hanging down are just abutted up against. They don't continue on beyond that wall. So because of that, the roof literally, the fascia board was holding it all together, and then there are braces. With the fascia popping off, the roof is now starting to fall, as you can see in some of these pictures, and in theory, could break off. So we don't want that to happen.
Provide shade, is that?
I would assume it's overhang,
Yeah.
so that, you know, water will roll off versus
Into the
come
water,
right down
yeah.
the windows.
Have you already got your permit from the town?
What's that?
Have you already got your building permit?
The contractor came down yesterday and I believe got the permit. He said he came down to apply. I would assume that means that he got it. We only do stuff with permits anyway, so.
Yeah, right.
Crane that size will fit over the bridge?
What's that?
It'll fit over the bridge?
No,
No,
so a
Brian.
crane that size is gonna be a 60-ton crane with a big boom. We're going to park it beside the building.
Okay,
And it's gonna go up and over and then dangle a basket.
okay.
And with 130, almost 130 feet of roof line, it really can only cover maybe 70 feet, 75, maybe 80, depending on how, you know, the angles, I guess. So then we have to move the crane to the other side so we can still get everything. So, you know, we're not near the river really. We're doing everything we can. We're not going to disturb any vegetation because we're going to be above the vegetation. So,
I've seen them pump cement like that up and over the roof.
yeah.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
this is going to be humans. But, you know, everything is, not that it matters for conservation, but has to be an OSHA-approved man basket and, you know, all the rules and,
Would there be any limitations with the runoff from the big machine that's there, with the river being right there, and things like that? Any
no more
concerns?
really than using it for a parking lot, which they already do for a
Right.
function with all the cars that are there. I
Right.
mean,
And would there be any limitations of what they could put on the roof to prevent any kind of contamination of the river?
with the basket,
marina-
with the catching nets, I mean, they're gonna catch most of it, and
Right.
anything that's gonna come up is gonna be debris.
they're also going to have guys on the roof to hump it over the roof, any stuff. They're not shoveling stuff off of the roof over the river. They're gonna bring it over the other side and off to the side to dispose of the stuff properly.
Is
We'll
there
have-
gutters on that, or is it just
No,
goes off?
there are no gutters.
So it's really a notification to us.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
We,
yeah, it's within the riverfront, so,
well, we
but
have,
it's really not
It's not like
repair,
it's not
right,
like
it's rehab,
new-
it's not really new
it's not like
construction.
something new, it's
yeah,
something that's being
and
repaired.
the insurance company's only paying a certain amount. We're going above and beyond so that we don't have to do this again anytime soon, where, you know, the ice shield, normally they recommend 4 feet past the outer wall. We're going to go 12 feet past the outer wall. You know, we're really, we're going to put soffits underneath, you know what I mean, instead of exposed
it's
beams.
overbuilt and
Yeah.
gonna last.
Yeah, we wanna make this thing, everything we've been doing over there is bigger and better than it was
When was
previously.
the last time it had any kind of rehab?
Probably,
Wow.
so we're guesstimating, Stacy thinks it was before her son was born and he just turned 15 in December, so
Yeah.
16, 17 years ago, so, you know, it's,
Oh, we're just maintaining it, so
well, yeah,
you have to maintain it.
yeah. Have you all been over recently? We're maintaining everything as much as we can, it's gorgeous, you should come visit if you haven't.
Haven't been in it since Nancy retired.
What are you waiting for? I'm there on Tuesdays, come on down.
Yeah. Drive by it all the time, but I haven't driven in.
It's only for the better, I can't
Yeah,
see.
I mean,
Uh,
Yeah,
You're not really
I
doing
I think
anything.
at this
Yeah.
point, we just give you our blessing
Right.
and we're aware of it and.
right, good
It's-
luck,
There you go.
I think that's kinda what we were hoping
Yeah.
for, so.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like you need to
right,
pull a public hearing permit or anything else because it's
they're not
repair
even
work
touching the
that's.
water.
Well, and like I said, we're trying everything we can do so that we don't litter the river, and we have a very reputable contractor and, you know, everything else, so.
And you got a 5-day window with a 3-day need and hopefully
Yeah.
Mother Nature cooperates.
Keep our
hope.
fingers
If anybody complains, at least you know. you can
Right, we know
find us.
about it.
Right.
and-
Yeah.
And I'm
football.
sure you're gonna have a lot of people watching what's going on.
And I got to be,
Yeah. It's
gonna-
and I got to be on TV,
There you go.
There you go. Alrighty,
so am I all set?
you're all set. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
folks.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yeah. This was exciting. Thank you.
Good night.
Okay, we have 2 certificates of compliance requested. One is for 278 North Elm Street, and John says he's got all the documents in. The site is vegetated and stabilized, no chance of erosion into the wetland, and he has no issues.
Is that that new one, right there across from Hawthorne?
Yes.
Is that it?
No, it's further up. I think it's the next one. Nope. Yeah.
So we're not
Do you
gonna
want
sign
the,
anything,
um,
we're gonna issue it after.
Do you want the
No, we can
as-
sign them, and then he can,
He won't
yeah,
release them.
right, he won't release them
Do you
until.
want the as-built or anything?
Yeah, do you have one of them?
Which
Or,
one?
278.
278.
Well, I'm just gonna give you both.
Give me both and we'll figure it out.
Yes, I've only seen them 100 times today and they still make no sense sometimes.
existing house, a garage, and they had to put the new septic system
Is
in.
that the one that's far up in
Yep,
the corner?
yep, further up on the corner.
Alright.
That's the one on North Elm?
Yep.
Yeah.
Came
And
out nice.
Yeah, it did.
so, I'll entertain a motion to issue a certificate of compliance without a bond.
I'll make that.
I'll second.
Moving second, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And the second one John has is for 6 Cortlandt Way. We have all the documents in, however, the vegetation hasn't stabilized.
I haven't seen this one.
And he
Seen it, Lee?
recommends keeping
No.
$1,500 out, just to make sure. That one's on the cul-de-sac. And it was in the
What's
front,
it-
and that was,
Where is
What's
that?
it off, yeah. What's, where's it near?
Off of East Street.
Oh, off
Oh,
East
East
Street.
Street.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
so
1,500 or 15,000?
it's like
1,500.
1,500.
Those old commas.
So I will entertain a motion to issue a certificate of compliance with a $1,500 cash bond to be released when the lawn has been established.
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Second.
Moving second, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And I think, unless anybody has anything else,
Yes, I do.
what does Kitty have?
Immensely. Oh, did you wanna sign
Yes,
that?
we can sign
Sign that, and
paperwork.
then this, because afterwards it would be a nuisance to get it out of this fiscal budget, because our meeting isn't until at the next time. You think I should mention that grant we're on the track of?
Yes, we can do that.
We have an awesome opportunity, guys. If I can get this proposal put together and submitted within a week, to get a little bit of a cushion to be able to start whatever needs to be done at Williams Landing. What do you think?
You don't wanna know what I think. You don't wanna know what I think.
Well, sometimes I do, maybe not tonight.
This one, I was not on it.
Huh. Anyway, that's a good, it's a
Oh,
good thing.
yeah, go back to Kitty, yeah.
So I think,
These are all done.
so I think any money, and we don't need
Okay.
matching funds, because we've already
See yours.
hit that.
We've already
point.
done the match, though, this would just
Right.
be the grant.
Williams Landing, for whatever we can get for grant money to either put in boat landings,
Yeah.
kiosks. Our portion has already been met, so it's just by money that's out there that we can apply for, so.
There's no disagreement.
Yeah, might as well try for it and see
We
what
won't
we
give
get.
it to you unless you put in an application,
Oh, they don't?
Darn it.
for some reason.
Man.
Other than that,
So what would the question be, like you said? I mean,
I
it's
just
there,
was
it's
sharing.
going. You're sharing, okay.
Just sharing.
Good sharing, I'm on it. Go.
Need a motion?
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Moving seconded and we adjourn.
Aye, aye, aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're done. A nice early night.
Senior